Welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, I'm going to do a quick video talking about 5 things you should know before buying a C8. I've had the car for almost 9 months now, which it pretty much flew by. I didn't expect it to be that fast, but yeah, I've had it for almost 9 months, and I just figured after having the car for some time and just kind of looking at the market and just being involved in the C8 community, I feel like I can give good advice on what you should look out for if you're buying a C8. So let's get straight to the first point. First thing you need to consider is what is your price point. These cars go from like 50 to literally up to 400,000 depending on the model. So the Stingrays, which is the one I have, depending on the package, they're between 50 to even $90,000. For the highest models and new, they're going to come up to almost 100. But for an older and used C8 like mine, since it's the 2020, you can get them around 50, like low to mid 50s up to like 70. So yeah, that was my price point when I first got the car. But when you start moving up to models such as the Z06, you can get them just under 100,000 up to like 150,000 depending on the trim and spec. And like I was saying, depending on the packages, they could be up to 150. I would love to get a C8 Z06, but I don't know if the price point is what I would. Basically, I don't know if I was spending upwards of 150. I don't know if I would pick a C8 Z06. I'm still leaning towards that, but I'm not sure. And then we can go up to the 250,000 to 400,000 range, which is going to be the ZR1/ZR1X. Those come up to almost 400,000, or maybe at 400,000 with the markup, because they're still asking for like 40,000 plus as a markup for those cars. So if you have a lot of bread and you have deep pockets, you could definitely pick up that car, and it's probably the fastest cars for the money. I don't really like the markup like most people wouldn't, but still, even with the markup, it's still going to kill a lot of cars. Like the ZR1X is killing hypercars, so I do think it's still a good buy. But yeah, so the first point I would say, you need to make sure you know what your price point is and just know how much you're going to be paying for which one you're getting. Also, this is a huge wheel gap. This looks kind of bad, but I am going to be getting wheels, so let's just disregard that. The second point, which I kind of alluded to earlier, you're gonna have to kind of know the trims. So the way that the C8 works, you can go from 1 to 3 in terms of like how spec'd out the package is. So there's 1LT, 2LT, 3LT for the C8 Stingray, and then there's like 1LZ, 2LZ, 3LZ for the Z06. I'm not super sure with the E-Ray and the ZR1/ZR1X, but basically with each trim you're gonna pay for more or less depending on if you go up or down, and that also determines some of the specs that you have. Like for example, I have a 2LT and it has the front lift, and I also have the Z51 package, which is not actually associated with the 1LT, 2LT, 3LT kind of configuration, at least from what I know. I think the Z51 is an add-on independent of that. But yeah, you need to know what trim you want. So if you just want the car in the bare bones, you don't really care about resale value or the amenities that come with like the 2LT and above, then I think the 1LT is good, because you get a crazy car for the cheapest price point, to be honest. And yeah, but if you're worried about resale value and also just you'd prefer to have like all the bells and whistles, I would say you should go 2LT or 3LT. The only issue I know of from the 3LTs is that the dash bubbles up sometimes. I didn't get a 3LT because it was out of my price range when I was buying the car. But if you do want the most, features and specs, then the 3LT is the way to go for the C8. I have a 2LT with the Z51. Honestly, the only things I would say you definitely would want to have on this car are going to be the front lift, and the Z51 is mostly a track package, so I don't think you really need that. But yeah, I really love my 2LT so far. And yeah, second thing you need to consider, what trim you want to get for the car. I'm trying to get different angles of the car since this is just a discussion video, and I want to kind of spice up the visual aspect of the video. But the next part that I want to discuss is what model are you looking to get into for the C8? All of the C8s are great value for the price, but it really depends on what model you want in terms of what you're looking for the car. So the C8 Stingray is the base model. This is perfect for people who just want a fun, fast car for the lowest price, I would say. In my opinion, and this could be biased, but the C8 Stingray is probably the best value for 60 grand and under. I don't know of any car that's better for it than that in the 60 grand range, but you can comment below if you have any you know, any discussion points, because I'm very curious, like, what do you think is the best car under 60 grand? But anyways, so that's the C8 Stingray. So the E-Ray, which not a lot of people are familiar with, it's a hybrid. Basically, it's the Stingray but with a battery attached to it, so it does push a little more power and it is faster from 0 to 60. So that one is going to be if you like the C8 performance but you also want to have a little bit more 0 to 60 speed, but also flexibility in terms of like mileage per gallon, because I do believe the E-Ray's MPG is a lot better than this one. Granted, this does get decent mileage especially with the cylinder deactivation, but yeah, the E-Ray is kind of a mix of the C8 and like a hybrid car. So next we're gonna go with the Z06. The Z06 model is for people who want to basically have a supercar in a Corvette package, because it sounds like a V12, it revs up really high, it looks insane, and it's still to be honest, sub 150 unless you get like the highest spec. So I think for that amount of money, it is one of the best cars to get performance and looks wise. It doesn't, I know it sparks a lot of conversation and controversy about whether the Z06, the C8 Z06 is a supercar, but I think it is. It is definitely kind of a gray area, but if you ask me, I think it is a supercar. But yeah, the Z06 is for those who want basically a supercar in a Corvette packaging. And then we're gonna go on to the last few models, which are just insane. They're honestly hypercars in my opinion, but obviously since it's a Corvette, most people won't agree with the hypercar tag. But the Z01 and the Z01X are just the Z06 on steroids. They're pretty much the fastest thing you can get out of Chevy's catalog, and I think that they are going to appreciate. So I would love to buy one and hold it, but I don't know when the market will stop, and honestly they're still very hard to get. So the ZR1 and the ZR1X are basically if you want a Chevy hypercar and you have a lot of money, because you're not getting those cars for under 300 for sure. You're not, at least not in the near future. But if you're in the position to have a ZR1 or a ZR1X, please hit me up, because I'm looking to film one and experience it. But yeah, the ZR1X is for those who have deep pockets and just want a Chevy hypercar. That's just plain and simple. Other than that, I think there is a lot of versatility in the C8 line. It's really up to you and how much money you have to see which one you get. The last two things I'm going to talk about for the C8 platform is basically what you want to do with the car, and then the competitors in this in that price point. When you're looking to buy a C8, you kind of have to think about what your end goal is with the car. For me, it's just to have a fast car that I could do some mods to and have a fun time with. That's a really simple and probably most of people's reasons for getting cars, at least car enthusiasts. But if you're looking to go the fastest possible, you're definitely going to want to look at getting the Z06 and upward. But if you just want a fast car that cruises around, looks good, and you know, is a pleasant experience to drive, honestly the C8 Stingray does all of that and more. I don't have any complaints with it. I've taken it to the canyons a few times. I haven't tracked it yet, but this car can deliver more than most people can drive. So I think the C8 Stingray is perfect for a driver. I know that sounds strange, but like, I mean, when I say driver, I just mean someone who enjoys getting behind the wheel and getting a little fast. But if you're looking to go the fastest possible, like quarter mile times, you definitely, to be honest, you're gonna need the ZR1 or the Z01X for the fastest times, but the Z06 does well in the quarter mile as well. This car does pretty good too. I think it's like low 11, but yeah, this is not a drag strip car, I would say. It's more of like a fast cruiser. All right, so I'm gonna finish the video inside the cabin because people were staring at me when I was doing the last few clips. But anyways, so the last thing I want to talk about are the competitors to this car. So the main competitors are going to be the Mustang GT line, which is the GT350. I wouldn't say actually, to be honest, in price point, the GT500 probably is in the competitor list. The main competitors are the Mustang Challenger and Chargers, like the upper trims, and then the Camaros, which are in the same family, but yeah. So those are the American competitors. Do you have the European competitors like the M3, M4, the Audi RS line and the AMG line? But to be honest, in terms of performance, I do think the Corvette is beating all of them, at least stock for stock. I know this is fully biased and this might be the part of the video that gets the most hate, but I do think the C8 is the best out of the competitors in the 60,000 or lower range. I can't really think of a car that's 60,000 and comes straight out of the box with the performance that this car has, because of course there's like forced induction cars like the M's, and they are fast. They just either they sacrifice the speed with heavier weights, they sacrifice the handling with the weight. I think the C8 is a good mix of both. They can do its performance and handling, and I just genuinely think this car is the best for in the 60,000 range. Anyways, this is the end of the video. I did talk a lot. Hopefully this little monologue helps people that are looking to get a C8. I am going to be starting a budget build for the C8s after this video. I already ordered some side skirts. I have wheels on the way, and then I have an exhaust. I am working with an exhaust company, so I might have a code for it for a discount. So yeah, look forward to that. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.